United States was founded on stolen indigenous land, says Ben and Jerry's ice cream. This 4th of July, let's commit to returning it. So, Ben and Jerry's, what you need to do,
This is directly on their website. That's directly on their
yes,
website.
Ben and Jerry's, if your factory is on stolen land, give it away. What's stopping you from giving it away? You can sign the deed over to your company to a native tribe. They would love to have your pathetic ice cream money. With you come up with names, Jerry Lee Bluish. I don't know what's the one. I don't even remember the name. The one singer's name. We'll have to look up a list of their names, but their names are stupid. Is what I'm getting at. You can give Ben and Jerry's your company over to a native tribe. They would love it. They would love to profit off your crappy names. You could also, donate a portion of your proceeds, like a lot of it, like 50% of it, to a tribe.
Why not 70? Why not 85?
Why not 99? Why not just enough so that you can pay rent in the lowest income place of your choosing or where you grew up so you don't have to. I mean, actually, you should sell the company and take just enough money to move to a country you believe the land is not stolen from. The logic, this is what I call the overturn all wars I don't like the result of logic, where do you think you're going into the world where you have unceded land that has never changed hands? You think the oldest tribe, maybe in the Amazon or deep in the Central African Republic or something like that, do you think that they've never warred with another tribe in all of history? Do you want to go to China, thousands of years of dynasties? Where do you want to go? Because in the United States, especially, I believe Ben and Jerry's is on the East Coast. I'm going to fact check this.
Vermont, I believe. Vermont.
Is that where it is?
I think that's where they're based out of.
The founding of America was a pretty bloody thing. So maybe you might get some remote northwestern tribes or something that haven't really warred with people, but it's pretty well known how much war it was had gone on between native tribes before the landing of Christopher Columbus. Sorry, you want to go to the Aztecs? Where are you going to go where this has never happened? That's what doesn't make sense. Let's read more about it, Eric, and then we'll get to your, which I think will be probably racist opinion on this. The U.S. was founded on stolen indigenous land. Let's commit to returning it. The 4th of July. Who doesn't love a good... This is going to be written like a crack.com article from 2012 or like a Vox or Now This or something. Sarcastic and attempt to be funny, but it isn't because it's so cringe. Let's skip their attempted jokes. The U.S. was founded on stolen indigenous land. This year, let's commit to returning it. Here's why we need to start with Mount Rushmore. Oh my God, Eric. They're really doing it. The story of
no, they're not. They're not. They're saying it. They're spewing nonsense. They're not really doing anything. Let's make that.
That's true. I'm saying they're really going for like the dumbest opinion here. When indigenous leaders blocked the road to Mount Rushmore, and this is like a new one. This is a new like big thing that people try to say. Before an Independence Day celebration in 2020, it highlighted a conflict that most Americans probably know little about, except us at Ben and Jerry's. We're informed about American history. We understand the natives. Long before South Dakota had become a state, long before the faces of 4 American presidents were blasted into the side of Mount Rushmore, that mountain was known as Tunkasilasakpi, the 6 grandfathers to Lakota Sioux, a holy mountain that rises up from the Black Hills. So, Eric, do you think that if you went to a place hundreds of years ago and you stole the land, don't you think people would notice if you deface their memorial and put up your own? That's called winning.
All right, just for once, stop pretending. You're on the computer anyways. You always got your cell phone in your hand. So just take a quick moment, sign up to the Patreon, patreon.com/UOPod. You will not regret it. You're going to see us fly off the handle and say all the things that we can't say on YouTube lest we be kicked off and shunned from society. So sign up to the Patreon. Appreciate it.
This is, I guess the theme of today's podcast is, revisionist history and having to tell the truth. Because these people lost and then they had their monument replaced by their new rulers, this is something to be outraged about hundreds of years later.
Well, winning is the same thing as success, right? And they hate both of those. So Ben and Jerry, well, they pretend to hate both of those. Ben and Jerry's is obviously a hugely successful ice cream brand, but they pretend that they don't like it, just to virtue signal. I mean, how about this? They could probably, and maybe this is something to fact check. I think it's still there, right on the corner of Haight and Ashbury in San Francisco, which is incredibly expensive real estate, no matter how many junkies are sleeping out front. They could, I don't know, give up that retail space and put a, I don't want to get banned. I don't know where we're at right now, but they could put a couple of Lakota Sioux Nation people or whatever into that building, right? I mean, obviously they're not going to do any of that. And this is just to get some clicks, so they win. This is very Colin Kaepernick. You know, it's just all complete nonsense. But I think it is there is a parallel between, you know, them saying, "Oh, billionaires," not them, not Ben and Jerry's specifically, but you know, the establishment hack left saying billionaires shouldn't exist, and you know, this bloody, you know, we have to give back this stolen land. It's all about getting the victim card. The loser, you know, like you said, the loser should be the one who wins, and then what? If they give it back, then they become the winner, and then now are they the villain? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. There's nowhere for it to go. It can't end. And one of my friends was actually sent me this article a couple days ago, like whenever it first came out or something, and said, and this is like kind of a, you know, a politically active, quote unquote, based person who sent it to me and said, this is, I think this is worse than Bud Light and Dylan Mulvaney. And I don't know if I would go that far, right? There could be an argument made for this, whatever, like, fine, give away your house, give away all your stuff, give it to somebody who lost a war however many thousands of years ago or hundreds of years ago or whatever. That's fine. There's an argument to be made there, I guess. It's wrong. Doesn't make any sense. But there's maybe some sort of historical facts that you can pull from and try to prove your point. But when you're talking about a 30-year-old man dressed up like a woman getting surgery and pretending to be, I mean, there's zero reality there. So I know you didn't bring this up. I just thought it was funny that a couple days ago, you know, a friend posed the question, or not a question, but said, I think this Ben and Jerry's quote is worse than Dylan Mulvaney. And if this person is watching, you know, good friend, we can disagree on a lot of things, but I think the Dylan Mulvaney thing is still worse. But they're trying, right? You can see they're trying to get the clicks. I'm not going to sit here and say they want to be boycotted, but they want the clicks. They want the attention. They need to get back in the news. And even as far as Bud Light is concerned, and oh, they're losing billions in their stock prices and all that. And I've said this, we could go back to a whole, you know, years ago, probably when we first started this, that I was of the idea that the money matters, but not as much as the control, right? Like, of course they want to make some money, but they could lose $1 billion here, $1 million there. It's a drop in the bucket for them. It's far more important for them to push the agenda of their overlords.
They seem to be just focusing on this. They have a petition and everything to give Mount Rushmore back, and they're citing this treaty that was broken. And the Supreme Court even ruled, they linked to a Smithsonian article, that they offered $100 million in reparations. Don't tell Californians that. They refused the money, which is now worth over $1 billion, and said the land was never for sale. Like, I don't know.
It's never going to be enough.
The U.S. government sucks, of course, and you should have taken the money because you're not going to get offered that again. But, like, what is the argument here?
Offer's off the table. The offer is off the table.
In 1868, and you're just like, this... Our nation, like, what needs to happen, Eric, is they need to decide, are you at war with your governing body of a country that has allowed you to have tiny little nations inside of a country, or are you part of the country? And that's happening here as well. I talked to a native guy at City Hall the other day that said F Canada Day, hates the government. He's been mistreated for 500 years. Surely that still counts for his life with his, you know, gifting of free education and no taxes and everything. But you have to decide, if you hate the government this much and you guys, you know, the land was never given up and you don't give up the land, then you are technically at war. So what are you waiting for? That's what I'm like. If you're not at war and you accept that you have, new rulers, I'm sorry that my French ancestors didn't get to remain, the products of France, and we're now under English rule. Like this is the exact same scenario.
Yeah, well, it's
Exactly
not.
the same.
Well, it's not real, right? Like with them, it's not real. The same thing with the politicians. Like, I mean, you're kind of taking that. Look, I've been I don't know a better term than jaded, right? Like every single thing is just manipulative. Every single thing is a lie. Every single thing is fake. So to even humor this as though they really want to do, no, it's not. None of it's real. They're not really going to do anything. Just like the politicians are not really trying to fix anything. Oh, they're so incompetent. No. This is all very manipulative. This is all very evil. It's not clearly.
Turn it up, Jordan.